Hello and welcome to a Godot Quicktip. Essentially these are videos to share little nuggets of information that may help you with your Godot programming. This time, signals. They are very useful and allow you to call and signify events across your games. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of signals, I'd encourage you to check out the Godot documentation, as it does a great job explaining many Godot non-specific concepts such as signals. If you are familiar, then continue on. Generally, signals are good at maintaining encapsulation of classes, but what is the point of this tip and global signals? Yes, globals can be bad, but everything has a use, and if used correctly with knowledge of its downsides, can be a powerful tool. Combining signals with autoloads, those scripts that you set up to automatically initialize at runtime and have a global scope, can be really useful at not creating knots in your code through passing around references to objects simply for the sake of connecting to a signal. Here is an example. This is a player signals class. It has signals relevant to the player, but also signals that other entities, classes, or whatever might want to connect to. Having this player signals class global allows objects to connect to any of these signals without having a reference to the player object. UI, enemies, and the player can update on events such as the player gaining health. In this example, an health item is picked up and calls the emit signal on the player signals object. The player and user interface objects are informed of this along with the amount of health. It can even be used to allow other objects and functions to easily grant the player health. The game handler can trigger the signal to be emitted, informing those connected that the player gained health. This example is somewhat simplified for demo purposes, as the player could be more directly informed of gaining health upon picking up an item, but I think this gets the idea across. You can be more general with your global signals class. You can put various signals within a single class. Debris signals, for example, can be emitted from the player, an enemy, or any other object. These debris signals can allow debris objects, such as blood spurts or explosions, to be created and handled solely by another object. Many entities in the game may need to emit these particle effects, and they won't need a reference to whatever object actively implements the code to create them. They just call the debris signals on the global signals object with necessary arguments. Of course, with anything global, it comes with inherent downside and can be incredibly prone to errors if used incorrectly. Encapsulation is preserved between enemy objects, player objects, UI, etc., but any class using these signals are now coupled to those global classes. The other downside with this approach is in the example of player signals, is that it assumes there is only a single player. If you add another player, then you need to account for that, else you will end up with many funky bugs. There are many things that groups might be better for, even in the examples given here, but this is an alternative that is very versatile and can be used to solve a variety of problems. Anyway, that is all for this quick tip. If this was useful, let me know. I'll probably do more. If there's anything you specifically have trouble with, though, drop it in the comments.